Today we're in Japan hunting for figures you can only find here, from the most exclusive Transformers to the rarest anime figures and But before we dive into Akihabara, the best place in Tokyo to go figure and electronics shopping, I got a few of the most interesting bonus stops for you starting right now. Unfortunately, at the moment it's raining, so I hope the weather clears up. There's also this giant squirrel. I have no idea what that's about. I guess you could say things are about to get pretty nuts. He's really sucking on those nuts there. We should continue the video now. Before we get to our 3 great stores in Akihabara, I want to check out Shinjuku and Harajuku. I really want to see the 3D billboard and the Godzilla head. By the way, this third store has a lot of great Transformers, so stick around for that. Alright, so here we are and the weather is incredibly wet, but the scenery of the buildings is really great. I went back in March, so there is a little bit of snow still left over from the day before. And right away, here is the 3D billboard. It's supposed to have a 3D effect when you see it in person. Well, let's take a quick look at what's at Don Quijote, one of the most interesting stores in Japan to visit. Don Quijote is basically a Japanese discount chain store. And over here we have a bunch of sex toys, so there's a lot of these in Japan. Now right outside the store is the Godzilla head. We've now seen our second attraction. Okay, so while walking, I did accidentally wander into the red light district. I was not bold enough to go down those sketchy stairs. There are so many hosts and hostess clubs here. This is a love hotel. Same with this one. I don't really know how well this Japan video and future ones are going to perform, so if you could leave a like down below, that would help out a lot. Anyways, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because that's not what this channel is for. So after this, I did go to Harajuku, and as you can see, it is insanely crowded. There's this really cool gachapon store here. You basically put coins in here and you get an item. It's like gambling, but legal. Alright, now we're in Akihabara, and if you want to get secondhand figures at a great price, check out this book off. So let's enter, let's go. I've kept you waiting long enough. We are immediately greeted with a bunch of anime figures. I'll be honest, I'm not really a big fan of these Grandista statue type figures, but if you are going to a book off or any one of the related chains, is a great place to get these. Personally, I like giant robot stuff, and that's over here, and there isn't really much of it. A lot of it is cool, and I'd like to buy something that's from a franchise I'm familiar with. This was actually the only Transformers figure in this store. Well, that's disappointing, but some of the other later stores did surprise me. And if you're enjoying this type of content, make sure to subscribe as it helps out the channel a lot. Now behind me there's a bunch of Switch games, and you can come down here and take these out to look at all the loose figures inside. That looks like it's from JoJo, and there's a bunch of other stuff in here. Now pretty much all the games are going to be in Japanese, so keep that in mind. Now over here we have a PSP, which is kind of at a high price, and we can see some prices for DS's, which is more reasonable. A lot of the video game electronics in center Akihabara is going to be more overpriced, and if you can't understand what's going on, there's not really a point in getting them. But we do have a lot of retro ones. It's still really cool to see. Now, if you want Gunpla, this is a great place to get them. And over here, we have some more anime figures. I'll be honest, I fell off Demon Slayer. The later seasons kind of started to bore me. I also fell off One Piece as it also started to bore me. I actually haven't kept up with ReZero either. Yeah, I really haven't been keeping up with anime lately. But if you are, the prices here aren't that bad. So you can get some used PS5s here, but they are still on the pricier side. These are all DVDs. This looked really cool, but I had no idea what it was. And over here, there are a bunch of PlayStation games you can buy, and as we go further down, we have more of the retro games. Oh, this one is Dragon Ball. And over here, we had some of the Game Boy games, and as we go further up, some more stuff, which I assume is also cartridges. Over here seems to be stuff that's on the more valuable side, which is, I assume, why it's all locked up behind here. And oh, we got Pac-Man. And now we're on the second floor, and it wouldn't be a book off if there weren't any books here. Everything's in Japanese. There's the 18+ area. I'm not going to be showing any of that, but if you are interested in books and can read Japanese, this is a great place to come. Come to the store, I mean, not the 18+ area. Also over here, this is Space Brothers. If you haven't seen that anime, I highly recommend it. Alright, now let's take a look at the electronics. We have a bunch of iPhones, and we have some laptops over here. A really good amount of electronics at this store. Alright, after this, I went to Uniqlo to buy some clothes, and I found this Kamen Rider display, and that's because they were actually selling Kamen Rider shirts. I did buy some of these. Alright, it is nighttime, but that's not going to stop our adventure, because we're going to go to this hobby shop called Trader, and it is several stories tall. This is a shop strictly aimed for collectors, ranging from video games to model kits to high valuable items. And the top floor has some adult items. Hobby shop. Hobby shop. As we walk in, we're immediately greeted with plushies and some figurines at the top. So just like the book off we saw earlier, this store sells new as well as used items. Also elsewhere in Akihabara, I did buy this suitcase for around $15 because I'm an old man and my back was killing me from walking. Make sure to get comfort soles for your shoes. I did kind of want to get some of the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. One Piece is huge in Japan. And over here on the left, we're going to see a lot more Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia. Here's the Dragon Ball items. Now this fourth floor is going to be the most exciting because it has all the giant robot and tokusatsu items. I like this display cabinet here. Coming up, some Evangelion figures, another Gundam figurine. On this side of the store, I found some model kits. We have some of the tokusatsu model kits from Go-Go 5, from Ginga Man. I didn't actually realize these were all model kits until I went back and looked at this footage. I initially thought all of these were figures. There is Gundam on this side. We have some, Dynazenon. Actually, at some of the book-offs, you can find pre-built model kits that other people have built and sold back to the store. These look like they might be body pillows. Yeah, definitely. Okay, now over here are where all the figures are at. That one looks like something I can't really show on YouTube. On this other side is more, really interesting stuff. I've seen a lot of these throughout Japan. Now coming over to the other side, we have some Kamen Rider. We have a bunch of the roleplay toys and belts. And here we have a Gaim figure art, which would have been really cool if I had actually bought that. Looks like some more Kamen Rider figures over here. And by the way, getting a small suitcase to carry your stuff in is a really great idea. Just be mindful of there being other people around. I have no idea what this is, but it looks very suspicious. This also looks very suspicious. Okay, let's keep moving on. So here are some interesting things I found. I did find this non-Transformers transforming figure, another one over here by Takara Tomy. While I don't know anything about the series this is from, I still think this would have been cool to buy. Over here, it looks like we have a Robot Spirits figure, and these are all figures from the Gridman series. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. Look at that mouse pad. Now this is something I honestly should have bought, but it would have been a pain to bring back. I've always wanted a CSM belt, but they're so expensive. And over here, I did come across some Diaclone figures, which I really did want. They tend to be pricier because I guess they are a higher end type of transforming figure, but the prices here weren't that bad. And over here, I did find a Transformer. It was the Legacy Armada Optimus, and I'm really liking the Japanese box art. I do already own this figure, so there wasn't a reason for me to buy it again. And over here, I did see the Takara Rise of the Beast Optimus Primal, and all this other mech and Gundam stuff here, they're all figures, they're not model kits. And as we turn here, we're going to see a lot of Evangelion. And as we turn into this area, we'll see a lot more figures. I'm not sure what you'd expect. And if I remember correctly, nothing in the store was too expensive. It is still going to be a bit on the pricier side since it is in Akihabara, but it is still going to be cheaper than finding any of this stuff in the US. Alright, now we're going to be moving on to the 5th floor, which has more of the risque stuff. Not everything is on the more risque side on this floor. There's still some regular figures, but I did go up one extra floor and everything here is basically hentai and other adult things. They were okay if you took video here, as long as other people weren't in it. It just kind of feels weird doing it. Also, some of it is a bit too much to show. Okay, now we're back at the bottom floor, and I did intentionally skip this one. This floor is basically just video game items, different accessories that you can find, vintage gaming consoles. Oh god, saying the GameCube is vintage? Oh boy. And we got some more retro games on this side. While I don't have anything to play these on, cartridges are just kind of fun little novelties. If you're curious, the price of a Nintendo 64 is pretty standard. Now, while walking to our next store, on the left you'll see some of the maid cafe girls that try to get you to go to a maid cafe. And while I was walking at night, I did see some more figures on display. I actually never really checked this place out during the daytime, so I don't really know what it is, but that is very big, and that is very big. And that's how much it cost. This is Suruguya, and I highly recommend coming to this store. I believe I was on the 3rd or 4th floor here, and we have a bargain bin filled with tokusatsu items. You'll find a bunch of stuff for the Kamen Rider belts for really cheap over here. And we have a lot more. I think these were also bargain stuff in this area. And as we turn around, if you can tell what any of this is, let me know in the comments. On this side, we have a bunch of Robot Spirits figures. Like, my god, there is a lot over here. This is very impressive. Like I said, I highly recommend coming to this particular Suruguya. We have, what's this? This one is Exia, and the price is 6,500 yen. I think it's used, so that's about half retail. Coming further down, we can take a better look at some of the stuff over here. There's another bargain bin down here for stuff for all the changers and belts and some loose figures, a bunch of like pretty much loose items, and I'll be honest, this looks terrible. There is also quite a bit of Kamen Rider stuff on this floor, and we'll see more of that later. And turning around, a bunch of giant robot stuff. Down here, I believe this is all Macross related. I'll be honest, I don't know what half of this even is. Now this did intrigue me. This may look like a McDonald's set, but if we take a look from the back, we'll see these are transforming Eva figures. That is something I kind of wish I bought. And further back in the store, here we have a bunch of Transformers. So this was one that I bought earlier on my first day in Japan. This was cheaper here because it was used. Probably would have been in great condition. Here we have the Legacy United Optimus Prime, which is a figure I already own. I already own this figure as well. This is a figure I also own. Same with this, and this costs around $16, $17. And once again, this was in March, so there was still quite a bit of Transformers 1 items lying around. We got Bumblebee Movie Skywarp. That's about $40. This would cost around $27, which is a little pricey. This is a Voyager class, I believe, for $37. And these are all new, so that's why the price is a bit higher. So yeah, this is one of the stores that sells new items as well as used ones. And honestly, buying used items in Japan is the way to go because a lot of the used items are well taken care of. Most of the time. I have had some issues where they're not well taken care of. And I did show those items off in my Big Japan video. Over here we have a Revenge of the Fallen 3-0 Optimus Prime. This is one I can't really identify on the spot right now. Yeah, if anyone knows anything about this, let me know in the comments below. This is a figure I actually own but haven't reviewed yet. We got some more Transformers here, and down here was some Diaclone figures. So this at 16,000 yen is a bit pricey. That's over $100, and I guarantee you if you went a bit further outside the Tokyo Metroplex, you would find it cheaper, like this. I waited and I got that for around 20 or 30 US dollars at a book off that was far outside of main Tokyo, and I'll make a video of that book off one day. So yeah, as you can see, Suruguya, some stuff is fairly decently priced, while some stuff is a bit on the pricier side, which is kind of unfortunate. Off the top of my head, in my personal experiences, I think book off tends to have the best prices, but technically this is a specialty store, meaning it specializes in certain types of items like Tokusatsu, Gundam, Transformers. They're like focused on specific niche items. And that is something I kind of regret not buying right over there. Over here we have a lot of figure arts, and Japan is the best place for figure arts. There is a figure arts store that I do have footage of, and I can make a video on that as well at some point. Generally figure arts, or at least Tokusatsu figure arts, can be a bit more expensive to find in the US. But let's take a look at this side over here. We have a lot of Ultraman. I have been trying to get into Ultraman. I just haven't found the right series that like clicks with me yet. I do need to give it a bit more time. I have no idea what that is, but I know for a fact you would never find this in the US. Coming more into the Godzilla and further down, this appears to be all Gridman related. I've had people ask if I would do any Kamen Rider in Super Sentai on this channel. I have in the past, and those videos don't really perform well, so that's kind of why I stopped doing it. I think if I were to do it again, I would do it on a separate channel. Wow, I remember paying 30 or 40 bucks for this a while back, and it's like $8 here. Now this was something I wanted, and I decided to pass up on it, but I did buy it later. This was something I kind of wish I bought, but it was a little pricey, and I own an older version of this. And this is something I've always constantly passed up on. This is something I also almost bought, but I passed up on it, and I'm glad I did because I did find it cheaper at that one book off that I've been talking about. But anyways, let's walk around the store some more and see what we can find. So over here, I went down a floor where that had all the anime figures. This store has a lot more loose items, which do look like they're on the cheaper side. So I actually bought this figure the day before at a much cheaper price at Mandarake. Used items vary in price so much in Japan. So as you can see, this particular stuff, a lot of it, we kind of saw similar items at previous stores. But there still is a lot of stuff we haven't seen yet. And this store seems to... what the fuck? Although looking back at this footage, I would say this store tends to specialize in a bit more niche items than previous ones we've seen. And I will say it does seem like some of these anime figure statues are definitely cheaper than the tokusatsu and mech stuff we saw earlier. Overall, definitely worth checking out. Now remember when I talked about Mandarake earlier? Well, that's an amazing store with a lot of great figures. And if you want to see that as well as some other stores, check out this video over here.